Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Viju Ratansi, who is presiding over this congregation today, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, the Chair of Council, Professor Julie Ojiambo, the Chairman of the Alumni Association, Mr. Isaac Owondo, the graduating class of 2020 and their families, members of the university community, the media, our online audience, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Chancellor, it is a great honor and privilege for me to participate in this graduation ceremony as the Vice Chancellor and the Chair of Senate, which satisfied all those being admitted to the respective degrees and who are receiving awards of diplomas today. It is also gratifying to note that this is the first graduation to be done virtually in the history of the University of Nairobi. Allow me from the onset, Madam Chancellor, to congratulate all graduates of class 2020 for the wonderful accomplishments. Upon being admitted to the respective degrees and awards of diplomas, they will be privileged to join a strong army, a big network, the convocation of the University of Nairobi. I appeal to you, fellow students, to always wear the badge of honor and continue to exhibit the indomitable spirit of the University of Nairobi. Your light will shine brighter and brighter every day. As a university community, we are confident that we have impacted you well enough for the period you have spent with us, with the relevant skills, behaviors, and competencies that will put you onto a trajectory of success. Madam Chancellor, the COVID-19 pandemic, which came in like a thief in the night, tested our systems and our resolve. We all witnessed how the University of Nairobi came alive within a very short time after the initial panic. This is mainly, Madam Chancellor, because of our indomitable spirit, resilience, and the commitment to our philosophy of giving hope and faith to our Kenyan people. To you who are graduating today, even in the midst of the ravaging effects of ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, you did not falter. You remained steadfast until the mission was accomplished. I salute you. I salute all staff. I salute all those who supported you, including your guardians and parents. Madam Chancellor, this is the 63rd congregation for the conferment of degrees and award of diplomas at the University of Nairobi. The first congregation was presided over by His Excellency, the late President Jomo Kenyatta in 1970, who was then the Chancellor, with 461 graduates. Since then, the convocation has risen to a total of 237,661. In my community, we have a saying, Roru Rotare Jau Nekohuka Rohukaga. Directly translated to mean a hand without calves is on the verge of becoming extinct. This congregation, Madam Chancellor, today is a testament that despite the challenges we have faced as a university, the values and ethos of the University of Nairobi will live on. Madam Chancellor, in his inaugural address as the first Chancellor of the University of Nairobi in 1970, His Excellency, the late President Kenyatta said, and I quote, "I am confident that this University of Nairobi will abundantly justify the hopes and the sacrifices of our people. If the mind of the nation is to flower through this university, the professors must be free to teach their subjects, while students and the researchers must feel free to pursue the truth and publish their findings without fear." End of quote. Madam Chancellor, 50 years on since our first president pronounced what the society would be expecting from the university, the University of Nairobi has done well. It has remained true to these expectations. However, we have experienced a myriad of challenges along the way, which have had the faint-hearted to develop or defeat and perhaps even surrender, and the others to borrow not so pleasant and progressive practices from the larger society, what in the computer language is normally referred to cut and paste. And they have made this as part of the university practice. We have an opportunity, Madam Chancellor, when it is still day, to redeem ourselves as a university, to reflect on those practices, and to collect where we have erred. Recently, Madam Chancellor, I was requested to serve as a panelist in a webinar where the key speaker was Right Honorable Charles Clark, former British Home Secretary. He made a presentation on reshaping higher education in East Africa, global trends and reflections from East African communities, Agenda 2050. When it was my turn to speak, I posed two questions. Who would suffer if the University of Nairobi or any other university in East Africa was closed? Who would care if the University of Nairobi or any other university in East Africa was closed for good? Would the government, would the local community, would the international community? Is it possible that it would be looked at as an issue of loss of jobs, or even to resort into reduced admissions of students to universities? This would be a disaster, as both of these problems, Madam Chancellor, can be addressed in several other alternative ways. There are ways of creating jobs. There are ways that students can join higher education, perhaps even online, joining universities out of this country. Put in a different way, Madam Chancellor, are we still relevant? Recently, Madam Chancellor, I shared with the University of Nairobi community how we may address this issue. We must do whatever it takes as a community to make University of Nairobi sustainable relevant, and vibrant. This is our responsibility. Consequently, I have proposed a 5-point reform agenda, which, in my view, will place our university on a trajectory to excellence, namely data-driven reforms, financial reforms, curricular reforms, governance reforms, and people-focused reforms. I'm aware that I'm building on my predecessors, and I'm glad that the Cabinet Secretary for Education here, who served as a Vice Chancellor at University of Nairobi, and I know because I was then CEO in management in 2005, he also initiated some reforms in the university, which included making the administration more leaner. Departments were collapsed, and many other reforms were initiated at that time. So we are building on these efforts by my predecessors. Like other public universities, University of Nairobi has not been spared from acute budgetary deficits and cash flow challenges. The perennial undercapitation of public universities arises from the failure of the current funding model, differentiated unit costs, to address the unique needs of the individual universities. This is a matter that we have brought to the attention of government. We will continue to petition government through the Ministry of Education to review the differentiated unit cost model because it is based on wrong assumptions. Public universities, like the University of Nairobi, are public goods that heavily would rely on capitation from the exchequer to deliver their mandate. As we continue to do our part in cutting costs and enhancing internal revenue generation, we expect that the government will develop appropriate funding mechanisms that will ensure the University of Nairobi continue to carry out its public mandate as envisioned. Madam Chancellor, I have already set in motion the financial reforms geared toward institutionalizing prudent financial management and controls to put the university back to a positive financial health and a path to sustainability. My first task has been to open the university space for discourses and allow staff to think critically, differently, and express themselves freely. We shall not stifle alternative voices that aim at making our university better. The university is a place where people should think radically, feel restless, and yearn for change. We shall open new grounds for change and find ways of carrying everybody along. Madam Chancellor, you recall that in 2016, you constituted a felicitation panel of eminent persons who rightly identified that some of the key constraints impeding institutional planning and efficient management of the university were lack of responsive governance structure and the limited use of data in management and decision-making. To address the foregoing, my agenda number one, Madam Chancellor, is to invest in setting up a comprehensive and integrated data management system to revolutionize how decisions are made, optimize deployment of resources, and improve overall systemic outputs. Madam Chancellor, we all agree that university has over the years grown in size and complexity. To stay in step with the needs of the university, I believe that there is a compelling need to refresh our management, administrative, oversight, and governance structures. This will entail, for instance, identification and the elimination of redundant and overlapping systems, processes, and structures at the reporting centers at the University of Nairobi. Madam Chancellor, we have embarked on the review of all courses offered at the university as part of our curriculum reforms. We have begun to assess the cost of their implementation and to evaluate their relevance to the needs of the industry, impacts on society, and their sustainability. We are going to systematically weed out redundant and overlapping courses and programs. We are going to recalibrate our metrics of world-class talents and make deliberate efforts in growing the internationalization of the university. Towards this end, the Senate has recently approved policies for double degrees and joint degrees programs at the University of Nairobi. Madam Chancellor, the people are the foundation of success of any university, including the University of Nairobi. The people would include our students, our faculty, our staff, our collaborators, and stakeholders. The university is proactively taking deliberate steps to blood itself. We shall identify and celebrate talents and achievement, as well as exploit intangible assets through commercialization and the promotion of research and technology transfer ecosystem. Madam Chancellor, the University of Nairobi is the academia of preferred choice for most Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education graduates. We admit very brilliant students with abundant talents that are the beacon of hope for the future of their families and the country. Unfortunately, the Senate has occasionally expelled some of these students for breaching the Code of Conduct and related regulations. The Senate and Council recently approved the guidelines on how to shake and balance the rigors of quasi-judicial administrative students and disciplinary processes and procedures, and to readmit expelled remorseful students who are ready to continue with their education in the university. The administrative punishment meted on students and the procedure are meant to be corrective and aimed at helping such students to overcome their weaknesses and be transformed to better citizens after their education. The student who show remorse will be readmitted. Madam Chancellor, finally, I would wish to thank the parents, guardians, sponsors, and lecturers for guiding and supporting these students in their quest for knowledge. We are very pleased today that we are graduating 2,851 graduates, comprising of 54 PhD candidates who have qualified to be awarded their PhD degrees, 370 master's awards, 2,045 bachelor's degree, and 367 diplomas awards. 63% of those graduating today are male and 47% are female. This is a joint effort for all. The graduates have been equipped with relevant skills to be competent and globally competitive. The University of Nairobi, Madam Chancellor, is celebrating 50 years since its inception in 1st July 1970. We have achieved a lot and made significant contributions in the industry, public service, and in the community. I invite all stakeholders and alumni to join us in the commemoration of our 50th anniversary. There will be many activities and events lined up between now and the next year, June 2021, which will invoke nostalgic experiences about the University of Nairobi blood. I thank you all, and may God bless you richly.